The Celtic FC manager, Postecoglou, responds to speculation over Celtic midfielder. Mikey Johnston's exit delay is explained. And Ange Postecoglou makes Celtic first 11 admission, as he has say on James McCarthy. It's already been a busy summer for the Scottish champions, but Ange Postecoglou admits more deals could be on the way. There have been 7 players arriving at Celtic Park so far this summer, but there has been radio silence from the champions since the arrival of Aaron Mooy and Mortise Jens. However, ahead of the clash with Ross County, the Australian boss admitted the club was still looking for deals this summer, with players set to arrive at Parkhead, as well as go out the door, with the likes of Mikey Johnston, Christopher Jullien, and Albion Ajeti facing uncertain futures. However, the club were waiting for incoming sporting director Fergal Harkin to rubber stamp the deal. He has left his role at Manchester City to join Dela's overhaul in Belgium. Ange Postecoglou has brushed aside speculation that James McCarthy could leave Celtic this summer. The midfielder was signed as a free agent last August, but struggled for game time in the first half of the season, with Rio Hat-8, Matt O'Reilly and Yosuke Ideguchi signed in January to bolster Celtic's midfield options. Although Tom Rogic and New Bitton left at the end of last season, Aaron Mooy was signed last week, with McCarthy failing to make the bench for the SPFL opener against Aberdeen. Sunderland, managed by McCarthy's former Hamilton teammate Alex Neil, have been linked with a move for the Celtic midfielder, but Postecoglou isn't pushing any of his players out the door. Not on my radar, mate. I kind of deal with what is in front of me. What's in front of me is Macca is still training with us. He is part of the squad, so yeah, in terms of what's happening beyond that, not on my radar. McCarthy had been in and out of the Crystal Palace side before his contract expired, with Celtic reported to have signed him up on a 4-year contract. The contracts of Bitton and Rogic were cut short a year ahead of their expiry date, but with a deal running through until 2025, the McCarthy situation doesn't offer an easy solution. Celtic's squad reshaping, in the near 14 months since Ange Postecoglou took the helm, has been nothing short of revolutionary. No fewer than 22 senior players have been recruited, as 21 have made way, 5 of these currently out on loan. Yet, as he prepares to tweak his title-winning team for a Dingwall date that will bring a first-cinch premiership away assignment of the season, the 56-year-old maintains he isn't attempting to build towards an idealised first 11. The side he will field against Ross County will feature at least one starting change from his selection for the opening weekend win at home to Aberdeen. Rio Hat-8 will miss out after a couple of knocks and a bit of muscle strain arising from a couple of hard tackles, and some clashes didn't come out of too well in the 2-0 success over the Pittodrie men. Postecoglou is intent on being conservative with the fitness of players, but not in how he dips into a squad with ample depth, and, in the case of the Japanese playmaker, a replacement of at least equal prowess in David Turnbull. A paucity of options last season meant Turnbull was one of the players that required to be flogged through November and December, which culminated in him being sidelined for 3 months with a hamstring strain, sustained in the Betfred Cup final the weekend before Christmas. Postecoglou is determined that there will be no repeats. With David and a few others, we paid the price for them having to play so many games, he said. Kyogo Furuhashi and Jota also lost for lengthy periods. We can't have them playing games at that rate again. The way we play is quite intense and it takes its toll physically and mentally. So I don't have a first 11, I don't have a set midfield 3 and then another one. What I do have is players who can play in those areas, and I want to get the maximum out of all of them. The only way I can do that is by keeping them fresh for when they are needed. I know why people will actually think that last week's team is kind of my first 11 and everyone else is after that. I just don't work that way. It's not the way I think. Every 11 I put out there is the 11 to start a game, not a judgment on players or someone being better than someone else. Talking about David, he's had a really strong pre-season and has made an impact. He had a really strong season last year, and up until his injury last season, he was one of our key players. I think he will have a strong year this season, but he won't play 50 games. Matt O'Reilly won't play 50 games, none of them will play 50 games. The whole idea in the way of setting things up this year, particularly in midfield, is that we have depth. That is so we can make sure that guys don't get overburdened. There's a simple reason why Celtic boss Ange Postecoglou can say it's not his job to keep stars happy. Ange Postecoglou says it's not his job to keep benched stars happy. To be honest, I can't imagine anyone at Celtic right now becoming unhappy. Why would you be? What's not to love about being there right now? And this is a topic of discussion which, quite frankly, will be completely obsolete once the campaign really gets going for Celtic. Against Ross County today, just as it was against Aberdeen last weekend, and will be against Kilmarnock a week tomorrow when the team plays again, there will be some classy individuals starting the afternoon among the subs. Premiership Golden Boot joint winner Georgios Giakoumakis was there last week. So was PFA Young Player of the Year El Abada. Internationals such as James Forrest. They might face the same scenario again in Dingwall. But it's not going to be like that all season. Everyone knows that, and I'm sure the players do as well. I genuinely don't know if Postecoglou has a first-choice starting 11 in his head. He might have, but I'd suggest he'd be a horses for courses type. Would switch personnel to suit certain situations. It really doesn't matter, because it's not going to be an issue when the season really kicks in for the squad, and it gets stretched by playing every midweek, as well as Saturday or Sunday. Right now, for the first time in more than a decade, it's not an issue for them at this stage because there are no European qualifiers. That magnifies the situation. It's weekend to weekend for a month at the start due to the direct entry to the group stage of the Champions League, but that's a good thing, not a bad one. Think of the problems which Celtic have had in them in the past, even getting teams together, never mind getting through. Look at the stress Rangers are facing on Tuesday after their result in Belgium the other night. It's not what you want to start a term. The flip side is that some of Postecoglou's boys are not going to get as much action as they would like until we get into September. But it'll come. No doubt. Take, for example, the discussions about Kyogo or Giakoumakis. Have people forgotten that both of them missed a total of about 7 months combined last season due to injury issues? You take that to 9 months if you add in Jota's 8-week absence, and Forrest also missed a chunk of matches with injury. Now that might have been a one-off, but it might not. It might happen again. And you can't have a deep enough squad just in case. With the greatest of respect to the young lads themselves, Celtic had to call on kids Joey Dawson and Adam Moffat up front to get through games in the festive period last year, when both the Japanese and the Greek were stuck on the sidelines. It was seat-of-the-pants stuff at times, and, although it's sad to say, there is simply no way Postecoglou is going to get through competing in 4 competitions, having high-pressure games week on week, and with the tempo his team train and play at without some guys picking up strains. He admits himself that, last year, he had to push some guys further than he wanted due to lack of numbers, and it broke them. David Turnbull was one of those. Now he's back and refreshed, and people were wondering if was going to get games with Rio Hat 8, Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor holding the jerseys for the opening day win over Aberdeen. 1 week in and we have our answer. Postecoglou has said he will switch things around and every single member of that squad will see action. I'm convinced of it. Of course, at this precise point in time, when basically everyone is fit and there aren't many games, there also aren't enough starting places to go around. It causes 1 or 2 questions. Take, for instance, the fact Jota played off the right last week to accommodate Daizen Maeda on the other side. It's my own belief the Portuguese is better and looks more comfortable coming from the left. It's not that Jota can't operate on the right, of course, he can. He's shown it. And on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up.